Welcome to another episode of Just Coffee Chat Diet. I am Emily, one of the co-hosts today, along with Jennifer A. Whitaker and Kurt Ruskoff. I encourage everybody to subscribe, like, share to social media pages and wherever you found us. Now let's get to the show. Hand over to you, Jennifer.
Alrighty then, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in or watching this whenever that's on your schedule after you found us. Please be sure to subscribe, like, or follow our page where you found us. And now I would like to get over to the food. This one is the Jaws diet, which is about, for those of you who haven't seen us before, different foods that are delicious and or healthy. Some are not healthy, like ice cream that I'll present later, but they are all delicious, and most of them are nutritious foods free of gluten, soy, milk, and egg. They're great for people with allergies to these ingredients, like myself, or some of you may be allergic to only one of the ingredients and or vegans, but they're great for all of us. And let's see, I need to get rid of my background.
So what is our food for today? Yes.
All right then, now you're ready, huh? Here we go. Oops, let's see. Okay, it's blurring this too. Let me change the settings.
There we go.
Vega all-in-one shake. See, it's organic and plant-based. So it is vegan, gluten-free, no grains, no additives, no added sugar, and it's also soy-free. And then check out these nutritious facts.
Yes.
Can you read that, Emily? Is it visible? Okay. So for those of you who are looking at this and can't see it clearly, I will tell you there's anywhere from 30% to 50% of all of these different nutrients in one serving. And the other things on the nutritional facts includes 20 grams of protein in one serving, 6 grams of fiber, so that's 23% of your daily protein, plus 22% of your daily fiber in one serving. And for those of us who are athletes or work out a lot, there's 9% sodium, which is kind of the ideal because it's low in sodium, but it supplies it for those of us that need it. 0 cholesterol, and all of the fat is unsaturated, or in other words, stuff like omega-3 that's good for us kind of fat. And it's only 140 calories in one serving. But there's also, for those of us who have constipation and other issues, down here where you probably can't read, I don't know if there's a way to read, but these are different amino acids at the bottom that are also in that one serving of this shake. Mine is coconut almond flavored, but they also have this in chocolate or vanilla flavoring. This Vega, this is basically called, if you look at the bottom of the screen, Vega 1. Vega is the brand. 1 is the type of shake, and it's a quote all-in-one shake. These are good when, let's say, you get the chocolate flavor and you heat up almond milk or whatever milk of your choice, but in this case I use almond milk because of my soy allergy. And also that coconut milk is high in acid, and I have acid reflux, so almond milk is a base. That means it will cool down any acid reflux issues at that specific moment, unless there's acid added to the almond milk. And that's it. So I use almond milk and I heat it up in the microwave warm enough to, say, make a chocolate milk. And then I put the chocolate flavored Vega all-in-one shake mix inside the almond milk. And then I use stevia. So I put, depends on how much, but if it's 20 ounce, I put 5 or 6 stevias in that 1 cup and mix it with all the now chocolate milk flavor to sweeten it. And then I have a healthy morning shake. If the weather is hot or you're hot after a workout, it's great to do similar, but instead put it into a blender with a bunch of ice to make it into more of a smoothie. You would just need a little bit less milk and the same amount serving of Vega all-in-one of the flavor of your choice, and then a bunch of ice, blending it together to make basically a shake that's kind of like an icy type of smoothie shake of this same nutritional healthy mix. I will admit it is thick, so that's why it's better if you heat up the milk to make it like a hot chocolate flavor, or even if you use the coconut almond like me, or the other flavors that still it as a flavored hot milk or a smoothie with a bunch of ice kind of flavor are better to allow the mix to be better mixed in instead of being chunky still inside of whatever your choice of drink, to where you actually taste and feel texture of powder. But those are the 2 best ways to make it. While they're great for a pre-workout or after workout or just a daily breakfast to try to get all of your nutrients in one meal and be overall healthier. Any questions for anybody?
So can you find this in like a regular grocery store, or is this only at like certain places like a co-op?
So in Texas, we have it at H-E-B, which is the big chain that's only located in Texas. But we also have it at Whole Foods. Some Walmarts have it. Some of the CVS's and Walgreens have it. It's in their healthy eating or it's somewhere near the supplements area, but not the same area, but just near there. Walmart has it for those that are a little bit more health conscious neighborhoods of different areas, because it is somewhat expensive, so it won't be located in a lot of the low income area type Walmarts as far as the location of which Walmart. Kroger's has it. Can you think of any others to ask about? Because I know Whole Foods and Sprouts has it as well. Did I name some places near you as far as stores? Okay. And then there's also that they can go to, I think it's Vega.com, or in other words, the brand VEGA.com. But if you're not sure, since I'm not sure either, you can look up Vega One or Vega Shakes on Google, and you can find it other places, like possibly Vega's website themselves, where you can get the better deal because you're buying it directly from the maker. And that's like online orders only. They don't have a store. Plus, if you do a search, you'll probably find it at other places like Amazon. Um, but it's a lot of places. It's just that when you go to some of these places, they only have one flavor, or they only have what's called their Vega ones that are not the all-in-one shake, but are the ones with only high protein and a few other nutrients without all the other all-in-one nutrients. So the key is, wherever you go to find the Vega One all-in-one shake, make sure it's the all-in-one shake so you have all these other nutrients, by always looking at the nutritional facts whenever you find a Vega One shake at your preferred retailer, online or brick and mortar. Check the nutritious facts and make sure it's one I'm talking about, and then pick what's your flavor preference. Any questions?
I don't know if I have any more at the moment. Kurt, do you?
Well, I guess I'll return to the banter with you, Emily. I mean, in terms of, this all-in-one shake and how you can get it. Have you ever taken an all-in-one shake before? Have you done a meal replacement bar? Or kind of what's your background with this, Emily?
Yeah, Vega does have what's called snack and protein bars that have a lot of nutrition like this too.
I've had members. I haven't really done too many of the kind of the shake things, even though I've seen them around. I don't know if I've really done too many of the bars either, but I mean, I've seen them. See people looking at them or getting them as well. Kurt, have you done any of the?
Or maybe have either of y'all tried other nutritious shakes that you'd like to compare and ask questions? Kurt, are you still with us?
Yeah, I thought Emily was going to be.
I was asking both of you. Did you hear that question? I asked both of you.
Yes, I was letting Emily have a chance there. But I mean, in terms of my background, yeah, we've connected to a laundry list of nutritional companies. And so, yeah, we've had, different, shakes and whatever, but it's just been kind of to try it. Nothing has really, stuck with us that we've done it ongoing, so we've always done it for like in a week with a trial thing. And then it just kind of ended there. What's that?
I said, right. Like a trial thing. You didn't actually stick with it. And what was the reason you didn't stick with it?
Well, I mean, I guess the concept of an all-in-one shake, I guess the background of this, my wife Sue, she comes from kind of a farming disposition, very much meat and potatoes type diet,
Organic?
regiment, and
Is it
not
organic
necessarily.
kind of regiment?
I think inherently to some degree, but nothing intentionally to be organic. No,
Okay.
not really with what the realm of the organic practices are driving at. No, not,
Okay.
no effort to try to be organic. No.
So what else with what you're saying? So y'all have that kind of farm or ranch or something?
Well, we don't have a farmer ranch. It's just that my in-laws, like Sue's uncle ran a dairy farm.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of having milk straight from the cow and stuff like this, and then plus with my mother-in-law, just growing up in a regiment where something like an all-in-one shake is just like not part of the equation, so just force a habit, just doing the time-tested ritual of just go to the grocery store, grab stuff off the shelf, all-in-one shakes not on the shelf, and and just constructing meals and not going for this concept of an all-in-one shake. And then, um,
Not
my
even for
wife,
one meal so you can get all your nutrients? Because this is not saying that we only need one meal a day. This is just saying in one meal we can get a big chunk of our daily nutrients to make sure our day is packed with the nutrients.
yeah, I think the concept is first of all, like when I talk about my wife Sue, I mean, she's not afraid to skip a meal, so I mean, to your point, that would help her that instead of skipping a meal, she had an all-in-one shake. So I don't know, it's hard to explain, some resistance to it, and I just kind of dive into whatever she's buying,
And
so
that sounds to me
basically.
like you're talking about basically some people have a different culture. Even in this case, it may be a food culture because y'all's are more fresh from the farm. So that's a culture of your eating life. You know what I'm saying? Your choice, your food preferences. It's a culture to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's also finicky eating that when to the palate. So I think for my wife Sue to make a ritual of an all-in-one shake, I just don't think she enjoys them, and you know, and I just looked at within our household. I looked to coordinate what we're doing, and my daughter actually a handful of years ago, she played around with this for maybe longer than a week. I think she went like within a month. She was doing it for quite a while. I thought it was going to take
Yay!
on, but
Right?
really didn't. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think it's the idea of habit formation, and I just think the discipline or the interests or whatever to form this habit of the all-in-one shake as an ongoing way to control your diet and look over the nutrients that you get, whatever. Just never really took on the practice or put the time and effort and energy into it, to make
Right.
it thing long term.
So in other words, it's hard to adapt to for your family because of your eating culture and preferences, the lifestyle of your eating. But then it would still be a great add I won't say additive, but it'd be a great thing to add to your diet for those that tend to skip meals because then they'd have a bigger portion of their nutrients already in them, say for breakfast or whatever that's makes up for
It'd
missing a
at least be
meal.
something instead of like nothing.
Oh,
It'd be
absolutely.
something
I
instead of
understand.
nothing at all. Yeah. That's what.
Well,
Yeah,
at
that's
least it would
kind
have
of. Yeah,
nutrients
that's
and
kind
not
of what I
just
was.
be the something that's,
Well, that's sort of what
say,
I
a
was referring
pie or
to
something
too.
like that. Yeah.
I think I might be sort of along the same lines. So I've never. I mean, I've seen them. I've just never really gotten into trying them or having them either. But anyway.
Would you consider, either one of you, would you consider your family that you're talking about or yourself to be prioritizing taste or nutrition when you choose food?
Um, it might sort of depend. It might sort of depend.
Like if you, I was going to say, because like if you prefer taste, you'd probably go quickly for something like macaroni and cheese. Versus if you prefer nutrients, you'd probably go for something more like grilled meat as opposed to fried meat.
Yeah.
And you'd probably rather have vegetables than a sweet if you went for healthy.
Yeah, I guess it would sort of depend on it would sort of depend on when it was or what it was. Or
So it sounds like you, Emily, try to go for the ideal in the middle that's both
yes.
healthy and tasty, right?
Mhm.
Is that really what I'm hearing? Well, that's a pretty happy place right there. I mean, because the best is if healthy food is also
Yeah,
tasty.
if you like
But like
you
my
like them
mom,
and that kind of thing.
yeah, that's the ideal, and that's the best ideal. But you know, sometimes healthy food isn't as tasty as the
Right.
bad food. And bad can be high in fat, it can be high in carb, or it can be sweets, but still that whatever is the bad, which can be independent to different people, then often we lean on the bad stuff because it's, oh, that's easier to eat and I maybe even crave it, versus having a lot of self-discipline to healthy is what I'm going to eat regardless of flavor, or meaning if it's not as good as the bad stuff, I'm just still going to eat the healthy to discipline myself that I want a long life and I want to be healthy instead of having additional medical problems on top of whatever, anybody who's our listener or even us have, that we want to stay healthy and at least prevent, say, stuff like diabetes that comes from unhealthy eating, right? Or like there was even a guy, I forget who it was, that died this weekend from hypoglycemia. I mean, wait, no, hyponatremia, which is the low sodium condition I have. He was an athlete and he drank so much liquid, so much water, trying to always hydrate, that he basically flushed almost all of the sodium out of his body and it put him in a coma and eventually killed him. But nobody knew him to have that history. No one has found that he had the hyponatremia or low sodium condition that I have. So it took the whole area by shock that he died from drinking too much water.
I'm sure there's
Because a lot of us struggle with not having enough,
I'm sure
right?
there's you could probably
What?
overdo it with about anything. Even water, even though we're good.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, right? anything in excess is always bad, no matter how, quote, good it is for you, right? Because like too much meat in your diet, and you can have a lot of fat, because meat, even if it's grilled or baked as opposed to fried, it still has more sodium than vegetables. It has more fat than vegetables and other things, even when it's the healthy meat. So too much meat can cause problems, just like not enough meat can cause problems. And that's pretty much like you said, anything healthy in excess is unhealthy. Kurt, do you have any comments or things to add?
Well, you just got me thinking of too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. It's the concept of hyperventilation, that we need to breathe, but breathing too much, too rapid, whatever, it puts you down. So yeah,
Right.
there's this homeostasis, that basically is the the range of all the the thriving conditions of our body, in terms of our blood pressure, our heart rate, our blood sugar level, our sodium level. There's all these biological measures of our homeostasis, which like our breathing rate and everything. And I think that's what our diet helps. It helps our homeostasis. Well, it helps us to be there. so we're kind of in that steady state of what our bodies want and need. And and I spoke a little bit about acidity and so forth. So like with this meal replacement shake, it can curb your snacking. And so if this all in
Uh-huh.
one shake gets you the nutrients you need, and then your body doesn't have that hunger drive because it's got its nutrients, then
Exactly.
that'll curb your snacking and keep you away from those Doritos, or or whatever you
Uh-huh.
snack, your
Which
little
means it
chocolates
also,
or whatever.
which means based on what you're saying, it also helps with weight management, because you're not snacking as much, so you eat less because your body's already got, in this case, 50% of all of the nutrients. Some are only 30 or 20%, but still that you've got at least some dosage already in your system of all the nutrients. So, like you said, your body's not going to lack as much of nutrients, which means it won't have a reason to be hungry. Because, like some people in healthcare say, these are people I know, to be hungry means to lack nutrient, and your body craves certain foods because there's something in that food, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, that your body needs. Like with women, we crave chocolate a lot because our bodies like magnesium, but there's only 2% magnesium in a serving of a chocolate bar, like let's say a Hershey's bar or something, right? So we're getting all this sugar, fat, and other stuff in that chocolate to get only 2% of what our body needs. So there's better alternatives to chocolate. They're higher in magnesium, but would resolve your craving for chocolate because it would give you the magnesium. So go ahead, Kurt. More about what you were saying.
Well, like you mentioned healthcare, you got my thoughts going that direction, that sometimes with doctors and nurses and physicians assistants and whatever, sometimes with the managed care systems, and just the occupational hazard of sometimes employers of that of that discipline, the idea of having a mealtime can be hard to come by when you're in that job where people are clicking buttons, and they they are expecting help now. And so when you're taking care of you know, people that, you know, don't have the health or have things come up where they need assistance, and you're that person that assists, maybe a caregiver. You know, I think your all in one, you know, shake is something where, you know, there's huge potential that, you know, in the last decade, couple decades, you know, the all in one shakes have penetrated the marketplace and is very commonplace. But I think there are still a lot of individuals out there, and even like in my case, where I'm somewhat, you know, familiar and could be taking that option. I think repeating this option is valuable, because I do think there are people that logistically are in that challenge where they don't have time to go to the microwave and tend to something, even the microwave, and put it on a plate and all that. But that shake, you know, to take that moment to make a shake and have that shake to take, you know, while you're working, and to set it on a,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, little countertop, you know, and go take care of a patient, and then that person's taken care of, and you scoot back to that shelf, and you know, take more of that shake. And, you know, it's a little bit more of, you know, it could be that flexibility that could help, you know, people in the caregiving business,
Right.
you
Like thinking
know,
of
or
that.
health.
So for somebody in an office job or a healthcare, they can't really take a break because let's say they're in the emergency room, so they have to always be going. And even when they're quote on break, that they're called back because some emergency happened, right? Like code blue per se, right? That they could have that, let's say, use the coffee that they have in many businesses, you know, in your offices, a lot of places that are like still corporate that have actual offices, unlike this modern day work from home idea, they have coffee. So take coffee and bring some kind of milk that you keep in your fridge or the company fridge that the whole team shares, and make, say, a latte. Heat up, put a little bit, serve yourself some of the coffee that the whole team, the whole department or whoever has access to. Pour a little bit of milk. In this case, I would say almond milk because our listeners may be vegan like me, right? No, I'm not vegan, but you know, have a dairy allergy. But whatever type of milk, coconut milk, something, pour it in there, heat it up for 30 seconds or a minute. If the milk is cold, then it'd have to be at least a minute and a half. They heat it up. And then put the, let's say, the chocolate flavored in there, and they have a mocha. I mean, of course, the sweetener of choices to add, like maybe some stevia to add to sweeten it, so it actually tastes like mocha. But you know, they could do something like that, and then they have a mocha, a nutritional mocha to sip on at their desk, or um, even healthcare people in hospitals, they have their desks where they do paperwork. So even if that, they could still leave it in their desk, just their when they're at their desk, they have to keep an eye on the patients around, right? So that's a great idea. But in that case, use your resources you have. And in that case, it's coffee and making, say, the chocolate flavored Vega mix into a mocha. What do you think of that?
I think it's good stuff. Emily, you've been in healthcare and assisted living, and so you've been in that caregiving position. How did you do it? Did they always give you a decent break doing that work, or what was the regiment in that case, doing that kind of work?
I usually get a good break. Otherwise, I either brought like something from home, or it was kind of I got something to take, kind of being a little prepared for it as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I guess now at this stage of the game, being a part of Jaws Diet and hearing Jennifer talk about the all-in-one shake, are you kind of thinking back that maybe you could have used these shakes once in a while? It would have made things a little easier. It might have been a better alternative. What do you think?
Possibly.
Yeah, you could even use it in this job that you do with Kurt, because you could have that coffee or the hot chocolate or something that you know how I'm always sipping on something while working. You could do it at least as your lunch break or breakfast, like when sometimes you and I have the Thursday 8:30 meetings in the morning. If you don't get a chance to eat, have the mocha or the hot chocolate or whatever's. Use it one of these to get your nutrients in, sipping while doing whatever work we're doing,
Yeah,
or with any of your clients, right?
so always options.
Yeah, and if you're like me, then when we get hungry, we
Yeah.
act angry, and as my family calls it, hangry. Yes, if you're like me with that, then you always want to eat when you're hungry and not let it interfere with your job by getting
Yes.
hangry. And then you burn bridges, right?
Yeah, I've been hangry before.
Well, if you're like me, we get it often with if we get so busy that we miss, like, especially if it's 2 meals in a day, or like if we regularly, let's say like me, I eat 5 times a day, 3 meals and 2 snacks. Then if I even miss my snack, my body's like almost like it's in a shock, and I get like angry, irritable sounding. And so whenever my family finds me like that, they're like, "Jen, did you eat, whatever was my last meal? Did you have snacks this afternoon? Or did you have breakfast this morning? Because it's, lunchtime, right? Or mid-morning." And I'm like, "Ugh, no. Okay, we gotta go get Jen some food. She'll be much better after we feed her."
Have you been hangry before?
Well, I'm learning about this emotion.
Yeah, angry. Yeah, I've been being hungry and
interesting.
angry at the same time.
It actually is.
I know.
I know. I'm just being facetious. I'm just being
Yeah,
sarcastic.
because I was going to say it's actually linked. It's actually medically linked to the blood sugar being low because someone hasn't eaten recent enough that they've already burnt, like, talking about diabetes and blood sugar. So even if you don't have hypoglycemia, which is a low blood sugar condition, the opposite of diabetes, which I do have, that still your blood sugar still drops when you don't eat. And let's say you keep, especially exercising or something that lowers blood sugar, you keep doing that, or you keep drinking stuff, liquids in general, those all lower the blood sugar. So if you don't eat soon enough, that's when your body's expecting it. After all these different things that lower the blood sugar, you may not have hypoglycemia, but basically it's where your blood sugar gets too low to fully function as it's normal. So the term is made up, but it actually is something medical that happens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You with me, Kurt? What's that grin I see? You're giving off some kind of grin.
I'm thinking of social media that, Emily, you should do some research on where we can get an emoticon for hangry and, have that available for when that is the case.
Let me go get my Vega mix.
I could try looking into that a little bit.
And for any viewers, what?
I could try looking into that a little bit and see if I can find anything. I mean, unless if John, maybe you and I could invent something if there isn't one already. Invent a hangry emoticon.
Right? For viewers who just came in or are late to join, I'm reminding you that this nutritional mix we're talking about is by the brand called Vega, VEGA. It's Vega One shakes, and it's the kind that's called All-in-One Shake. That's our product for today. For those of you watching the video, I have it on the bottom of the screen written out. So do we have any more thoughts about this or questions?
Turning it into a smoothie sounds good. I like smoothies.
So you know what I'm talking about, right? About with blending it with a bunch of
Mhm.
ice to make it like a ice smoothie? Like a nutritious icy kind of smoothie.
Yeah, I do.
But those you have to have a blender to make. And that's why I did not give it as the ideal solution for when somebody's at their job or working and don't get a lunch break. Then it wouldn't be easy to go to the blender and get ice and the other stuff to do that. But that would be possible if they do it for breakfast or another meal when they're at home, where they do have a blender and ice and all, let's say in the kitchen. So it's all in one little area.
Yeah.
Anybody,
Sure.
anything to add?
Not sure that I have any more comments at
Ed,
the
ask
moment.
anything?
Do you, Kurt?
Well, I think I just continue an appreciation for this show. I think through culture and human nature, I think depending on which people you tend to hang with, I think there's some sets of people that are maybe in the business of nutrition or something where the conversations of diet come in naturally, and then I think you have other circles of people where people are not talking about diet very much, and that's where the risk factors start to set in. I know that there was a TV show, I can't think of the naming of it and everything, and even the gentleman's name, that came over from the UK to actually deal with the issue that the American diet is kind of like what you were talking about, Jennifer, with eating with emotion or eating for taste, and even with like soft drinks and so forth. The fact that
Right.
there's actually high paid scientists who did the research to find that with foods, with creating the recipe for food and to decide the level of sugar to be in it, to actually have a science where how much sugar can you put in it to make it that that driving the crave for sugar, but then you're not too sugary that it's a turnoff, that when you eat it, oh, it's too sweet. But
Right.
to just think that we have that in our commercial sector of food production, that people are actually doing that. I think this is good to really keep talking about diet, because there's a lot of traps out there out in the marketplace. So it's something to really check in on, and make sure you're really considering the consequences of your actions with what you eat, because eating yourself to death is a real thing.
Or drinking yourself to death, like my example with too much water into somebody's system. The athlete I was talking about, that's even you know, maybe you'd say it's eating, maybe you'd say it's drinking, but it's still consumption of some kind of food.
Yeah, so it's a real thing to find those ideal levels of everything, and again, ideal because of what you understand on how what you're consuming provides to your body, and have that relationship with food and drink that you ask yourself, what is this doing for this closed system that is the human body and your tissue, and fueling cell replication, because if cells are getting damaged and you're damaging your cellular capability to replicate on going life into your tissues and everything, that's where your body's ability to ward off disease comes from it. And it
But speaking
coexists
of
with that,
that,
the correlation.
I think it's also important to customize the diet to fit our specific nutritional needs, because like what I gave in my low sodium and low sugar level conditions, that certain people like me need more of those, while the typical American already consumes too much of it. The typical American already consumes too much of it. So I think it's a matter of also going by what our doctors or dietitians or whoever else tell us, in addition to listening to and being inspired to be healthier by watching Gel's diet and putting it into action. But I think you've got to do it within the parameters that your healthcare providers give you. Your doctors, your dietitians, just different kinds of providers that give you, that say these are your certain needs, so accommodate it to what are your certain needs. Like somebody who has acid reflux, putting Vega all in one shake into a coffee may not necessarily be great, because coffee is a high acid drink. But they may be the one that's better off of bringing the almond milk and making it into some kind of hot drink, like the hot chocolate or hot vanilla milk flavor. So it's also a matter of accommodating it based on them, you know what I mean? Their personal needs that their providers tell them, right? What do you think of that, Kurt?
Yeah, they're for sure in the realm of health, like even in the medical realm, in terms of an intervention with medical services, there is this future of where, to the degree of, if somebody that's serving you, or maybe we'll get to a day where we can kind of take a read off of our own DNA and so forth.
That'd be cool.
There's a lot of credence to quite literally have a custom solution that is for you, that there's these general rules out there for kind of what it looks like across 8 billion people in the world. But to what you say, for us as an individual, to shift from that general rule and make shifts and alterations and specific choices that are based on our biological experience and reality of what's going on inside our skin. Absolutely.
Right, like my boyfriend, who's a medical doctor, says, there's some consistency between different people's bodies medically, but at the same time, all of our bodies are different and have different needs from each other.
So yeah, and for Emily, it's tacos and bread with peanut butter. Right, Emily?
I feel like you're getting embarrassed, Emily.
Well, I mean, yes, yeah, that's not all I eat. Yeah, but yes, those are two things I do eat, and like.
Are they some of your favorites? Is that why Kurt says that?
Yeah, because Kurt thinks that's all I eat, which it isn't. It just always seems like that's what I'm eating when he sees me eating.
Well,
Does
Emily,
anybody
it's
have
back to
any
you.
announcements to share?
Kurt, do you have anything like the IDH or anything you want to share?
Yeah, Emily can share this stuff too. But yeah, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 9 a.m. to 3 Pacific time, 11 a.m. to 5 Central Time is the International Day of Happiness celebration by the Happy Neighborhood Project with the Happy Co-op. And so we are going after the Guinness World Record for the most speed networkers at a single event. And that was set in Belgium in 2014 at 1,068 people networking at that speed networking event. So we're networking around the world to find people that just want to be a part of International Day of Happiness on Hopin, HOPIN.com, with the Happy Neighbor Project and the Happy Co-op. And we're talking to other business networking groups, and so we can have interest groups. We can have dietitians around the world coming in and doing this, whatever it all amounts to. We just want to respond to this record, and this is the 10th anniversary of the International Day of Happiness with the Happy Neighborhood Project. So it's very much a milestone, and a target that we have set to do this together in cooperation with whoever is able to join in. So you can find the details on that at hmpabc.com or happyneighborhoodproject.com, and we see the link in the visuals, hmpabc.com/IDH for International Day of Happiness. So that back, take it away.
And then viewers, for those of you looking on the video, this here that I have, the domain I have right here, https://hnpabc.com/IDH is the link or the URL to what Kurt is sharing. Kurt, anything else we need to share?
Well, we do have other podcasts through the World of Ability podcast side of things with Zeta, Tuesdays at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And we also are with our friend Tim doing Blue Collar Crypto Sundays at 4 Central. And we do have the World of Ability podcast Saturdays at 2 Central. And so people are welcome to come and be guests on all these shows. For sure here at the Jaws Coffee Chat productions here. And so just very excited where all this is going. And with the work at the Disability Channel, you can find that at the disabilitychannel.ca, because it is based in Canada, out of Toronto there. And so the disabilitychannel.ca, and the Disability Channel is getting grander recognition out in the business communities. So we're very
What's the
excited
domain
about
for
that.
the Disability Channel?
The disabilitychannel.ca, because it's in Canada. Disabilitychannel.ca. And so the Disability Channel is very big on inclusive hiring. So all this attention by businesses is very crucial. So with
And
that,
for those of you that are watching the video, this is it on the screen, thedisabilitychannel.ca. Is this the right one, Kurt? On the bottom of the screen, is this the right domain?
yeah, that is correct. The disabilitychannel.ca. That's perfect. Thank you.
Anything with Project Die Hard you want to mention?
All right, I feel like I'm doing Emily's job. Emily, you're the public service announcement queen here, but I'll go ahead and do it. Projectdiehard.org, you see it there. And Emily is coordinating with Zeta of Zeta's Healthy Beginnings and the Wild Podcast to, host an all new show coming out in about a month, less than a month from now, Monday, January 2nd. It's going to debut at 6:30 Central. And so it'll be about an hour podcast. It's Mission Monday update. And it's going to be an update by Project Die Hard serving the issue of veteran suicide. So very important work being done there. And the big deal right now, the big solution is through a forward operating base, Fob Rush in Illinois, a place for being a haven for mental health and allowing veterans and their families to come and constantly be out in the wilderness to unplug and get off the grid a little bit. Not entirely. I mean, there'll be accommodations there that put everybody in the grid with what's available at the facility. But again, that outdoor therapy, that is really crucial. And then to have all the supports there. And we also have the Veterans Ranch out of Florida is helping Project Die Hard avail to veterans equine therapy. So all good stuff happening for our veterans.
Okay, and then listeners, here on the bottom of the screen, Project Die, like DIEHARD.org is the website to what Kurt was just talking about. Project Die, that's DIEHARD.org, projectdiehard.org. And then now we'll go to our announcements. For Jaws Coffee Chat, we are looking for a social media candidate as well as a virtual assistant. And whichever role you would like to be considered for and or possibility of doing both, we ask that you go to calendly.com/JennsBooksAndMore. That's Calendly, CALENDLY.com/JENNS Books and More. And that's for candidates for virtual assistant or social media management. And that's also for those of you who would like to be a part of our podcast as guest speakers. If you want to join our podcast as a guest speaker, please go to Calendly, CALENDLY.com/Jaws Coffee Chat. That's calendly.com/JAWS Coffee Chat. And at the same time, if you're interested in finding more podcasts or learning more about us, please go to JennsBooksAndMore.com. That's JENNS booksandmore.com, which is our website to find out more about what we do, as well as to find our other podcast episodes and or other shows. Back to you, Emily.
I guess one last announcement that I just thought of. Kurt and I are part of the Mutual Aid Network, and the Mutual Aid Network is having a Solidarity Summit coming up on December 17th, from 2 to 5, and for the last
What time
hour
zone?
is a karaoke party. So
You said it was from 2 to 5, but
Central.
that's which time zone?
So I encourage everybody to join us for that, to get a hold of me or Kurt about that if you are interested. I don't know if anybody that is. And want to thank everybody here and for everybody who has tuned in. Our next episode, are we doing it next week or are we waiting until January?
Let me see what the schedule is. So next week is when I'll be out, and it'll be up to y'all to do it. So I think today's basically going to be the last one for December, and we will be back on Monday, January 2nd, 2023.
Okay, and
Go.
to be sure to have everyone subscribe to all of our channels and pages and groups, and wherever you found us, as well as checking out our website to find out more info about books, other shows, and among other things by Jennifer A. Whitaker at www.jensbooksandmore.com. That is JENNS booksandmore.com. Until next time, we wish you a productive and an enjoyable week.
Awesome. That was much better. Now, will you schedule the 2 afternoon ones? Oh, I just got recorded saying part of that.
All right, I think we're okay.